At the beginning, when paper money was introduced, it was redeemable for gold. What does redeemable mean? Yes, exchange. In the United States of America, until the 1920s, you could take $20 in notes, paper, and go to any bank, and you can ask for 1 ounce of gold, and you'll get it. If a man wants to cut your throat, he wouldn't be so silly as to show you the sword, the knife. He has to hide the knife first, all right? Get you to come close. So, when paper money was introduced, it was redeemable in gold. And the banks that issued the paper money and the governments that issued the paper money, they gave their word that this is the value of the paper. And they even print on the paper, guess what they printed? In God we trust. Let me show you. In other words, when we give our word to you that 20 American dollars is equivalent to 1 ounce of gold, our word is as good and as solid as the word of God himself. But in 1933, something strange happened that should have caused our ulama to stop eating halwa. Uncle Sam was broke. So guess what Uncle Sam did? Uncle Sam was broke. So guess what Uncle Sam did? In April 1933, Uncle Sam enacted legislation prohibiting all Americans from keeping gold. You have to return any gold that you have, not jewelry. Jewelry you can keep. Any gold that you have as coins or as bullion to Uncle Sam, and he will give you paper. And you have to trust in God that Uncle Sam's word is as good as the word of God. So all of America gave their gold to Uncle Sam, meaning the U.S. government. If they caught you with gold after a certain date, then you could be fined 10,000 US dollars and spend 6 months as a guest of Uncle Sam in one of his prisons. So all of America went and gave their gold and took the paper. After Uncle Sam had collected all the gold, guess what he did? He gave his word, but he changed his word. This is called values. These are the people who today rule the world. They gave their word, and they broke their word. Uncle Sam changed the price of gold from $20 an ounce of gold to $35 an ounce of gold. The American people woke up that morning and said, our own government ripped us off. Yes, it was your own government that ripped you off. And then Uncle Sam made it known, you better come back and buy your gold quick before I change the price again. So the American people had to go and buy back their gold from Uncle Sam at $35 an ounce. And in the process, Uncle Sam ripped off the American people of almost half of their wealth. The Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, this transaction is one based on deception, through which you get a profit to which you are not entitled. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam described this as riba. How is it taking place? They started with gold, paper being redeemable in gold. And then came 1933, when we should have woken up to see their game, but we didn't wake up. So in 1944, at the end of the Second World War, they now consolidated the system in the creation of an international monetary system now. Consolidated. The new international monetary system emerges out of the Bretton Woods Agreement in upstate New York. Is it taught in the Darul Room? No, it's not. At Bretton Woods, what did they do? They said, no longer will paper be redeemable in gold. Only one paper will be chosen to be redeemable in gold. All the rest will not. The one paper which was chosen was the US dollar. So the US dollar would be redeemable in gold, but not sterling pound, and not Pakistani rupee, and not Indonesian rupiah, not Australian dollar. No, only one. So this is a major blow to the integrity of money. The second thing that they did was to declare that the only people who could come to Uncle Sam to redeem their paper for gold are governments. You and I can't do it. Only governments, only central banks. So now the entire system has lost 99% of its integrity. It has only 1% left of integrity, but those fellows are still eating halwa. 1% integrity left. That governments, central banks can go to Uncle Sam with their US dollars and demand the gold. Nobody did. From 1944 to 1971, nobody did. The Vietnam War took place in the late 60s, and Uncle Sam printed a lot of paper to finance the war. And Uncle Sam didn't have the gold to back that paper. At Bretton Woods, they had fixed the price of gold at $35 an ounce. Fixed. It is there in the Bretton Woods Accord. Uncle Sam didn't have the gold to back all that paper. So in September 1971, the British government came in one Friday evening, perhaps, with $3 billion and said, Uncle Sam, we want the gold. Uncle Sam knew that the game was up. The game was up. Because come Monday morning, guess who is going to be at the front of the line? Saudi Arabia. Or who behind Saudi Arabia? Kuwait. Huh? And a whole long line of people, of government, central banks, we want the gold. So Richard Nixon retired to Camp David, and then on Sunday he had addressed the American people, and he said, we gave our word, but we don't have to keep our word. We gave our word, but we don't have to keep our word. We will no longer honor our obligation under Bretton Woods to redeem paper for gold from central banks. And so since September 1971, this may be news for some of you who have been eating halwa. Since September 1971, there is no legal link between paper and gold. It's gone.
So to argue that we can continue to do this, to continue to debase the currency, which is really the policy that we're following, is purposely debasing, devaluing a currency, which to me seems so destructive. It destroys the incentives to save. It destroys, and if you don't save, you don't have capital. Then it just puts more pressure on the Federal Reserve to create capital out of thin air in order to stimulate the economy. And usually that just goes into malinvestment, misdirected investment into the housing bubbles or the NASDAQ bubble. And then the effort is, once the market demands the correction, what tool do you have left? Let's keep pumping, pump, pump, pump. And it just is an endless task. And history is against you. I mean, history is on the side of hard money. If you look at stable prices, you have to look to the only historic sound money that's lasted more than a few years. Fiat money always in. Gold is the only thing where you can get stable prices.